Hey, this is Craftsman's Homes, and I wanted to show you a quick little video here on how to take out a toilet. It's just some real simple steps. They're safety steps, and you should be successful. Everybody's got a different method. This is mine, and I hope that it's helpful for you today. So the first thing we want to do is we want to shut the water off. I'm going to go to the street using this key, and we're going to shut the water off. And the reason why I want to do that is because if I just simply go back down there and turn the water off on the valve in the back of the toilet, sometimes I have experienced that the valve itself is so old that it'll come apart in my hands, or it won't completely shut off. And so if I disconnect the toilet without shutting off the main water line, then water's going to hit on this floor, and I don't want any damaged floor. So what you want to do is locate the meter if this is street supplied water and sewer. If you have a septic or well pump, that's a different matter, but for this particular case, I've located this. This isn't something that you necessarily want to try to find while you're having an emergency trying to put the water out. So it's good for all homeowners to know where their valve is. This one's got water in it. I can see down in there. And we're going to turn this valve off. I guess I can't see down in there. Ready? Okay, it's off. So the next thing I want to do is drain the water out of the line at a point that's lower than my toilet valve. So I'm going to do that by turning on the water, and that takes off the pressure. But that's not good enough. It's got to drain below. So let's go outside to a water spigot and turn that on. So before I turn the water off, what I want to do is shut off the hot water heater. This one's an electric hot water heater, and by shutting that off, I have controlled any loss through water that's come down below the hot water heater and then burns out the heating elements. Okay, so now we've shut the water off, down to nothing coming out of here. So now I'm going to go ahead and shut off the valve to the toilet. And then I'm going to flush the toilet. That's going to let all this water go down into the bowl. I'll hold that open for a second. And then I'm going to use a wet dry vac and suck the water out. Then next comes the water in the bowl. I'll Okay, would you take that, Jacob? Put it outside. Okay. Now for some toilets, the tank's really heavy. These are relatively light in comparison, so I'm just going to keep the whole thing together. However, you can look down in the bowl, and sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3 bolts, and you can unbolt them. If they're rusted through, you can just take a Sawzall and cut the bolts off and then that comes out. So now I'm going to disconnect this, and the supply tube where it meets the porcelain is usually only hand tighted. So with your hand, it's there. So now the water line is disconnected. And then on the left and right side, there's a plastic cap, and that just, it's protected so that they rust. This one's plastic. And we're going to take that nut off. And then we're going to do the other side. Okay, so now it's free of water, but when I lift this up, or when you sit it down, let's do it in reverse. When you set it down, you're setting it down on a wax ring. So when I lift it up, I'm going to have wax on the bottom, and there's going to be some feces and whatever underneath there. It's just part of the process. So what I want to do is I want to be able to pick this up and set it down on something. So here we go. I just straddle it and lift straight up. Set it down. Okay. So then I want to take some tape. And I'm just using a construction worker's trash bag. I can't do it with the gloves on. I just want to be able to tape this so that as I'm lifting it won't come off. So probably one piece of tape right here. Okay. And then I can carry the toilet out. A little more sanitary for me. And then I know nothing's going to get on the floor. If I'm tiling a floor and doing a bathroom remodel, I'll take this and set it inside the shower or the tub, and then it can just stay stored. In this particular case, the owner is replacing these, so this is going to get tossed. Now what I have is a wax ring around a PVC flange, and so all that color there is just deteriorated wax and whatever else. And so I'm going to get that off, and then I'm going to put tape over top of it to prevent sewer gases. Now I can say that a lot of plumbers I've seen will just take a rag and shove it down in there. I don't suggest that, because from time to time the rag falls down and then you have a blockage in your sewer line, and sometimes you don't find out about that for weeks or even a year, but that's completely preventable. So I'm just going to take this wax off and then tape it. So these bolts, they'll come right out. Sometimes the plumber will put a nut on that to hold it in place. It just depends on how it was installed. It's a preference. I don't know that there's a right or wrong. It's just that's how some of them do it. And then take all that, put it there, all this wax away. And I'm taking the wax away for two reasons. One, then it prepares for when you install a new one, and the other is that the tape won't stick to the PVC flange. And then I also want to inspect the flange to make sure that there's no cracks. If you've got a cracked flange, you have to replace it. That's not even a question. It has to be replaced. Otherwise, you're going to have rotten floors and sewage in your crawl space or in your ceiling. This particular one had just a wax ring. The wax rings that I use have like a black funnel to make sure that all of the water that comes out of the toilet goes down to that drain pipe. Okay. If I could have a paper towel or a rag or something, I want to get that last bit of wax right off. Okay. And I want my tape to stick to the flange. And that'll prevent sewer gases from coming in. So could you break me off pieces of tape about that big?
Yep.
And then I'm not grabbing the tape with my unsanitary hands. Keep them coming. That's good. So that's sufficient, and that'll keep those sewer gases from coming in. And now what I want to do is since this is off, I want to make sure that this valve is okay. Let me do this. And I'm going to take this water supply line, which I would not reuse. I always put a new water supply line in. Okay. So now I'm ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have someone else turn the water on so that I can safely see that the valve is shut off. I don't want to turn the water on and then come inside the house and see water sprayed everywhere. Okay, so now we've completely removed the toilet. We've put the flange cover on. We just take that up to prevent sewer gases coming in. And we don't have anything that's going to bump into the shutoff valve. I also removed the pedestal sink and got that prepared. We've cut off these and they're nice and tight. Okay, so now I got somebody at the street and we're going to turn the water on. But before we turn the water on, let me talk about putting pressure to your water lines. Don't know what kind of water lines you have. Some can't take a big jolt. So what we're going to do is we're going to do things in reverse. Jacob has already turned off the outside water spigot, and now we're going to turn this on. We have the kitchen sink, and I think we have, do we have one other sink open? Okay, so we have the kitchen sink. It's completely open. And what we want to do is we want to turn the whole house water line on slowly, and then we're going to have air trapped. Water can't be compressed, but air can. So what we don't want to do is compress that air. We want that air to bleed out of the system, and there's some that's just going to be trapped. But we do want to bleed the water line and get that air back out, and so we're going to go ahead and turn on the water line slowly. Or you know what, I'm going to go outside and turn that on, and you can tell me if any of these three faucets leak.
Okay.
If they do, just yell out. So here I go. I'm going to turn this back on, nice and slow. I can feel vibration of the water going through the water line. You could also check the water meter. Okay, we're back on. I'm not going to cover yet. I'm going to keep everything here in case I need to. Okay, so we don't have any leaks. That's good. Water's on. I know that the air is still trapped, so we're gonna go upstairs and turn those faucets on and try to slowly bleed out the water. So you don't wanna do a quick on off, just a nice slow. We wanna prevent the pressure from jamming up the pipes and possibly creating a in-wall leak. Come back over here, turn your hot water heater back on, and you should be good to go. So that's removing the toilet. So I hope you got something out of this, just simply removing the toilet. If you like this video or you can relate to it, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.